This is the Highly Sensitive Club, episode number 73.
Have you been told you're too sensitive, too dramatic, or too much? Do you have big feelings and deep thoughts you don't always know what to do with? I'm Stephanie Linn, a certified life coach and highly sensitive person. I've helped dozens of highly sensitive clients feel more energized, more confident, and more in control of their high sensitivity. In these episodes, you'll get the information and inspiration to level up your life as a highly sensitive person too. Welcome to the Highly Sensitive Club.
Hello, highly sensitive person, and welcome to this week's episode of the Highly Sensitive Club. This week's topic has come up many times in the last week or two with my clients. It's something that I have thought about, and it's helped me move forward anytime I've had setbacks in business, in health, in relationships, in any area of my life. I wanted you to know this today because this is going to help you break out of being stuck, move past insecurities, and be able to move forward again after you've had a break or you've taken time away or you're just ready to approach something in a new way. Today's topic is about clean slate energy and how you can create clean slate energy at any time. A lot of times we look for clean slate energy according to our circumstances or situations in our lives. A new year has a lot of clean slate energy. That's why we have so many New Year's resolutions. A new week or a new month or even a new day can give us a lot of clean slate energy. New seasons and changes in the year, or even changes in the way that our lives look, can give us clean slate energy. Transitions like the school year for many of us, maybe a move or a new job gives you clean slate energy so that you can start fresh, you can build new habits, and you have this burst of energy because you don't have any old unhelpful habits slowing you down. I'm a huge clean slate person. I love a fresh start. I love turning the calendar over. I like creating a new weekly plan with my time blocking. I love those circumstantial ways to create clean slate energy. But there are times where you can also just decide to give yourself that clean slate and you can give yourself that fresh start no matter what time of day it is, no matter what time of year it is, and no matter what is happening in your life outside of your goals and your dreams. My clients lately have been pretty hard on themselves, which makes sense to me because we highly sensitive people, or HSP, tend to have very high expectations of ourselves. We can create a lot of nuance. We receive a lot of input from the world around us and from our internal landscapes. So we can create these really robust, very detailed visions of how we think things should go. When we have those high expectations, however, and they don't go according to plan, or the situation doesn't go according to plan, or our actions don't go according to plan, we often judge ourselves and make it mean something about us. Something didn't go according to plan, and therefore there's something wrong with us. We haven't done enough. We're just not cut out for it. It's never going to happen for us. Thoughts like this. The common theme here for us HSP is that we have these high expectations, and then when they don't go our way, we make it mean something, and then we slow ourselves down. We get stuck. We hold ourselves back. We get lost in confusion or overwhelm or stress or burnout because we think that we don't know how to move forward because we've had evidence that something has gone wrong in the past. This happens in a ton of different ways too. For my clients, it's happening in businesses. When the business doesn't go in the straight line that they expected, and I have definitely been there are thoughts that you've done something wrong, you're not good enough, you're not prepared, you need to learn more, something like that. When you have relationship wounds, which could be arguments or conflict or tension that has crept into your relationship, or it could be things from the past that are no longer present, but they feel like they're affecting things that are happening in the present and into the future. This could be health yo-yos. Maybe you have planned to create more movement in your day, or you've had a plan to do more exercise, or you want to lose weight, or you want to eat healthier, or you want to reduce chronic pain. At times that has worked well, and at times you've quote unquote fallen off the wagon. I have definitely been there myself. All of these things I have felt, and I bet you have also felt too. We've all had some of these moments where something didn't go according to plan. Another big one for highly sensitive people is money mistakes. And I say mistakes lightly. There are heavy quotation marks around mistakes. You invested in something, or you spent money on something that you later regretted or judged as not a good use of your money. Maybe somebody else judged the way that you were spending or saving your money, and you took on their judgments and made it mean something about you. Anything related to saving or debt or making investments in yourself, especially in your brain and your mind, or investments that you made in other people or money that you spent for people that you cared about and loved. If you are holding on to previous money, quote unquote, mistakes, that can really hold you back and keep you stuck where you are. Another big one I see a lot with highly sensitive people is going on autopilot with your time, your schedule, and your plan for your week or your month or the quarter or the year ahead. Time can create a lot of stress for highly sensitive people because we tend to have such an acute awareness of how time has been spent, our thoughts about our time, how much time we have left, how we've spent the time previously, whether we've wasted time or we've made time. All of these thoughts about time and schedules and planning can keep you stuck in autopilot. I find with my clients that they get very frustrated with themselves when they are not scheduling in the first place, or they schedule something and they don't hold themselves to it. They move things around in a way that feels like people pleasing, or it's on autopilot and it's not intentional, it's on default. Or they make a plan to honor themselves through rest or a fun activity or self-care that they haven't done in a while. And then when the opportunity arises to help someone else or to take care of a project or to do maintenance, they choose someone else or the project or a task instead of choosing themselves and choosing to rest. Whether you're thinking about an occupation, a relationship, your health, money, time, any topic or concept, it could even be decision making. If you are looking to your past and judging that you've done something wrong in the past, this is going to keep you stuck in the present. You are using your experiences to make it mean something negative about you as a person. Frequently, we judge the things that we've done as right or wrong, successful or a failure, a win or a lose. The deeper level is that we take on those judgments about the actions that we've taken, and then we create an identity around it. We create this concept of ourselves as an irresponsible person, an unreliable person, a lazy person, someone who just can't get their stuff together. Whatever you make that mean about you, that's going to sink in. Then you get yourself stuck, you avoid, you freeze, or you turn into this frantic chaos monster trying to get everything done in order to quote unquote make up for things that you've done or haven't done in the past. The problem with this highly sensitive person is that you're stuck in black and white thinking. You have this all or nothing, either or attitude where you think that something was either effective in the past or it was not effective. You did the right thing or it was the wrong thing. Our experiences are so much more gray than that. You might have done something that didn't turn out the way you wanted, but there's always a lesson that you can get from this. There's always something that you can take from that experience and use your failures to fall forward, as the saying goes. A failure is only a failure if you stop learning, if you stop growing, if you stop moving towards the person you want to be. That's the only way you can fail. If something didn't go the way that you expected and the results didn't turn out the way that you'd hoped they would, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a failure. That could very well be an experiment. When you feel like you've fallen down on the job, or you haven't been working on the things you want to work on, you're not moving forward the way that you want, you create this story in your head. that you've done something wrong, that you're a bad grandparent or a bad parent, that you're a bad employee or a bad business person, that you just can't figure it out, or that you're just not as good as you thought you were. This also comes up a lot when you start to clean up money or you start to clean up your time, and then something sets you back. You had an unexpected bill, you had an emergency happen, and your time got reshuffled. Instead of holding that with grace and knowing that things are going to happen unexpectedly and you can still keep moving forward, you make it mean, I'm never going to figure this out. This isn't working. I don't know what to do. Same thing with health and with wellness. Anytime we start to make some new habits, it's normal to fall back into old habits. In the messy middle, where you're switching from one version of yourself to the next version of yourself, it is normal to experience both and switch back and forth between them. Sometimes you're in your old identity where you're eating the way you used to, you're not moving or exercising the way you want to, and sometimes you're in your new version where you are eating thoughtfully the way you want, you are making opportunities to move, you are taking classes, you are hiring personal trainers to help you get back into that space. You are doing both of those things. When you're in black and white thinking, it's either or. You're either your old version or you're your new version, and your new version feels very far away and very unattainable. I talk about this a lot with my clients who are starting businesses because I also went through this for about 8 months. Shortly after I went full-time in coaching, closed my organizing business, and was working with clients, some of my clients didn't get the results that I expected them to get. I have since learned from this experience, and I have much better conversations at the beginning of our work together to see what their expectations are and for us to agree on what they're looking for out of their coaching packages. But I had thoughts that I did not share and did not confirm with the client when I first started working with them, that they would have these massive transformations because I could see it for them. I knew that it was possible, and I believed in them so much that I turned my belief into an expectation. And then when they made progress, but they didn't make as much progress as I thought they could, I made it mean something about me, that I wasn't coaching them hard enough, that I wasn't helping them enough, that I didn't know the right words to say or the right action for them to take. I made it mean something about me, and this stalled me for almost 3/4 of a year. When I gave myself the opportunity to create a clean slate, then everything changed. I got out of being stuck. I got out of feeling self-pity and resentment. I moved forward knowing that each person I talk to is an opportunity to do better, to learn from my past experiences, and to have great experiences with my clients. Now, my clients are raving about the transformations that they have. They're stopping rumination after 30 years of beating themselves up over the same thing because they know that they've learned the lessons they wanted to learn. If something didn't work out with a client the way they wanted it to, that's okay. They still made a difference, and they can do better with the next client. They can look for the next person to help, and they can grow from that experience. I've had this come up with my weight loss. I lost 30 pounds 2 years ago with my new protocol. I was so proud of myself. I talk about it a lot on the podcast and in my newsletter. I have since put on some of that weight, and I will tell you why. My thought that got me to my goal weight and eating healthy all the time was, I want to see if I can do this. I want to see if this is possible for me. I want to prove to myself that I can do hard things. As happens for all of us, when we don't have a super strong why, we reach our goal and then we think, great, I did it. Now I can go back to normal. I hadn't adopted my new normal. I had treated it like it was temporary and that I could get to the goal and then I could maintain the goal without actually having to maintain the lifestyle that I had created. Since then, I am slowly still working on maintaining my health and eating good food. I am still keeping an eye on that weight loss goal since I've put about 15 pounds back on. I am still thinking about fitness, and I'm still building more walking, more yoga, more dance into my time. But I'm also not beating myself up for putting some of that weight back on. This has been part of a long-standing journey, doing Whole Foods multiple times, doing the Stop Overeating course from Brooke Castillo in the Life Coach School, coming back and getting coached on this regularly. It's okay that I have changed a little bit over time and that I've taken steps back and that I've moved forward. It's okay that I've made big progress and then a little step back and then I continue to move forward. This is actually the way that most change works. It is not a linear thing. It goes in squiggles and circles and it backtracks on itself. It goes forward. It involves detours. It also involves some straightaways and some superhighways where you can chug along forward. I think about this in terms of the choices that I make, where I used to get into a lot of black and white thinking where I was either on protocol or off protocol, which means if I was off protocol, I could have candy, ice cream, pizza, all kinds of things that I knew didn't make my body feel good. When I'm on protocol, absolutely no sugar, absolutely no flour, no room for any of those things for extended periods of time. This black and white thinking is part of the reason that I didn't want to follow through on that new normal when I had lost that weight. I didn't want to live in this stark black and white contrast where I either get to enjoy foods or I don't enjoy them at all, and I need to be very strict and disciplined and stringent with myself. I imagine this will resonate with you too, highly sensitive person, because we treat our health this way. We frequently treat our relationships this way too. We think either our relationship is great or our relationship is horrible, and we have a bunch of things we need to fix. Sometimes when we are not satisfied with our relationships, we make that mean something about the other person, that they are not behaving the way they should, that they should be working on themselves, that they should be taking more discerning action and being kinder to you. In actuality, we can change the way that we approach our relationships at any time. You can change the entire dynamic of any relationship, romantic, family, coworkers, friends, acquaintances, at any time just by doing your own internal work. The energy that you show up to your relationships with will affect the other person, whether they're conscious of it or not. If you show up with aggressive or defensive energy, the other person is going to respond to that. If you show up with curiosity and empathy, the other person is also going to respond to that too. You get to decide, no matter what area of your life you're working on and what goal, that you're willing to let go of those high expectations and that black and white thinking, and to give yourself a clean slate whenever you need to. When you're stuck in old thinking, you have thoughts like, maybe I'm not cut out for this. I'll never figure this out. Here we go again. I knew this wouldn't stick. This time was supposed to last. If it didn't last this time, what if it never lasts? I don't want to bring this up because people will ask me about it, and I don't want to explain that I failed or that this isn't going the way I wanted. I must be the problem. I'm not doing enough. I'm not good enough. I don't know enough. I need more experience. I need better skills. I don't know what to do. I might as well give up because this is not working. Or my favorite, F it. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to keep trying. I'm tired of being disappointed. All of those thoughts create emotions that are going to keep you stuck. Embarrassment, guilt, shame, disappointment, self-judgment, anger, frustration. Any of those feelings, when you feel them, you typically run away or you freeze. This is when you start scrolling, you distract yourself. Maybe if you're trying to change your food habits, you go back and eat food that you know is not good for you because you've flipped the table and you've decided you don't care. You're going to do it anyway because you want to. When you're in those emotions, you continue to repeat these cycles, and then later you regret it. You judge yourself for not having the willpower or the motivation to be able to work through it in the moment. You keep yourself stuck because you're creating this negative cycle where you're reinforcing and creating more evidence and more proof that you don't know what you're doing, you can't fix it, and you can't do better in the future. So you wait for a burst of inspiration or motivation. You try to change the situation in order to change yourself, like a new job or a new home or a new relationship or a new diet or a new course. Or you show up with this very frantic energy where you try to do all the actions all at once, which typically works for about a second, and then you get overwhelmed and stop. Then you flip to the other side of the pendulum where you avoid, you distract yourself, you do other things, and you try to forget and ignore the feelings that you're having of disappointment or embarrassment or frustration because something didn't go the way that you wanted it to go. When you're stuck in that space, then you build this cycle of keeping yourself stuck. You build this cycle of blaming yourself making it mean something about you as a person, and avoiding taking action because you're afraid you're going to repeat the same mistakes over and over again. This will keep you stuck for months or years. We've all been there. We've all felt stuck because we made a mistake mean something personal about us. You do not have to do that, highly sensitive person. To make the switch, you can decide to forgive yourself. You can forgive your past self for making mistakes. It turns out you're human. As much as we highly sensitive people really want to adhere to those high standards and high expectations, it turns out that you can't be perfect all the time. You can forgive yourself for things that have happened in the past. You can forgive yourself for mistakes that you've made or failures that you've had or things not going exactly the way that you wanted. You can accept the feelings that you're feeling. I just spoke last week about how to self-regulate your nervous system as a highly sensitive person. This builds on my episode about how to actually experience your emotions in your body. And I continue to get to the next level and teach my clients about this too. You can reframe something that you did or didn't do as an action that you took or an experiment that you tried that simply didn't go the way that you wanted it to. You don't have to make any of these things mean anything about you as a person. These are simply actions that you took that either worked or didn't work. They either created the result that you wanted or they didn't create the result that you wanted. It can be as simple as that. I love the phrase data, not drama. Data, not drama. Whatever happened in the past is in the past. It's already happened. This is just data. It's information for you to work with. It doesn't have to be drama. The drama are your opinions about yourself or the story or the narrative that you're telling yourself about those things that happened in the past. That's just information. You don't have to add a story on top of it that doesn't serve you. Once you forgive yourself, you accept the feelings that you're feeling, you reframe whatever you did or didn't do so that it's more helpful to you and more forgiving and compassionate, and you don't take on things that you've done as a reflection of who you are, then you can give yourself permission to start fresh. And you can do this at any time, HSP. You can give yourself permission to be self-compassionate, to give yourself grace, and to extend the same kind of empathy that you would give someone else to yourself after going through something tough. I love the belief that you did the best you could with what you had at the time. You made the best decision that you could. You did what you needed to do in the moment, and you thought it was the right thing at that time. Of course, hindsight is 2020. Being on the other side of those decisions or those actions or those inactions, of course you have more perspective. You know how it turns out. You can look back to that decision in the past and make a judgment about it. You don't have to make a negative judgment about it, highly sensitive person. You can look back on it as information that's completely neutral, and then you can decide what you would like to do moving forward with it. I'm going to talk about this in next week's episode as well, about how to evaluate and extract lessons from things that have happened in the past. But when you're so stuck and when you're in so much shame or guilt or embarrassment and self-judgment about something that happened in the past, it's hard for you to extract the lessons. So the stopgap that I'm teaching you today is to forgive yourself and create that clean slate energy whenever you want. When you give yourself that clean slate energy, I bet you can feel it. You feel lighter, you feel relief, you feel more open, you have more curiosity. And that comes from new thoughts like, I can restart right now, today, in this moment. My past doesn't dictate my future. I dictate my future. I get to decide what my future looks like. I can choose something better at any time. I don't have to wait for special circumstances to choose to be the person I want to be or to do something differently now. I can leave the past behind me. There are always new opportunities to do things better than I have done them before. I give myself permission to wipe the slate clean and start fresh. I don't have to wait to try again. I can try again right now. The stars are always aligned for me. If you're woo-woo like I am, I love this thought that it doesn't matter whether Mercury's in retrograde, it doesn't matter whether the sun is in your house, it doesn't matter what time of year it is, it doesn't matter what the constellations are doing. The stars are always aligned for me. My guest, Sina Gench, gave me this thought that the universe is friendly and it has my back. For her, it's life. Life is friendly and it has my back. Actions I've taken in the past don't change who I am at my core. This is a big one, highly sensitive person. Actions that you've taken in the past don't change who you are as a person. Whatever qualities or values are important to you, those are still part of who you are. Nothing you do can change that. If you care about being resilient, capable, strong, generous, free, thoughtful, conscientious, it doesn't matter what you've done or what you haven't done yet. You can be that person and you are that person all along, at any time, from this moment and every moment forward. You are already that person. You don't have to do anything to prove yourself or to create evidence of your worth. You already have those qualities. And when you come from those qualities, then you take actions that actually create the results you want. When you reframe and think these new thoughts to yourself, that you can start fresh anytime, that what you've done does not dictate who you are, it allows you to feel really powerful emotions like relief, calm, presence, acceptance, self-love, and even empathy and self-compassion. Those feelings are so much lighter. You can feel your body expanding. You can feel your stomach unclenching or your posture shifting and sitting up straighter. You can feel any tightness in your throat or in your head loosening. When you're coming from this place of forgiveness and acceptance for anything that has happened in the past, then you create the relief, the curiosity, and the openness to move forward from this point on without the judgment. This is what gets you unstuck. This is what creates that clean slate energy. You can literally do this at any time. When you come from this place, you allow yourself to try again. You allow yourself to take small steps. You're more willing to experiment again. You're willing to be uncomfortable because you're not making it mean anything about you as a person. You're just trying things out and you're attempting to get the result that you want. The more attempts you make and the more you learn from those attempts, the sooner you will get to the result that you want. This is when you can redo your schedule at any time. Even if you haven't done a weekly time blocking in a few weeks, you can do it now. You can do it midway through the week. I have done a time block on a Wednesday and on a Thursday because I just wanted to feel intentional and purposeful around the rest of my week. And then I started again fresh on Sunday. You can look at your calendar at any time for the next few months and decide what you want it to look like. You can face your budget, open your bank account, open that spreadsheet that has your money information that you've been avoiding. You can open that at any time when you come from this place of, I forgive myself for anything I've done in the past, and I can start fresh right now. The more information I have, the better choices I can make. This might mean picking a small area to organize and just doing one organizing project at a time. One of my clients I'm so proud of, she decided to take a few hours last week. She picked some small projects. She did it first thing in the day when she was still fresh. And then she took care of the projects and she was so happy and pleased with herself that she took care of herself first. She was always going to have energy to help others, but helping herself first proved to herself that she is capable. This was so huge. I was thrilled when we talked about this because it means that it's working. There are projects that she's had sitting for years that she is starting to make progress on a little bit at a time, and she can celebrate each of those things along the way. Starting with this clean slate allows you to make those small steps forward and to acknowledge them. This is how a number of my clients have been building self-trust. They've been building belief in themselves. They've been building self-confidence, because they take these small steps And then they've created evidence to prove this new version of themselves. When you give yourself that clean slate, you take actions towards what you want, then you create new evidence and you reinforce the person that you wanted to be all along. You can do this by eating healthy meals more often. You don't have to eat healthy meals every single meal. This is where I am. Most of the time, I eat healthy meals. And while I'm focusing on helping my clients and growing my business, I'm not worried about losing weight right now. I'm still moving. I'm still doing my dance videos. I'm still taking walks. I'm still having fun and moving, but I'm not focused on it. And that's okay. I'm allowed to take this step back because my past doesn't dictate my future. Once I am ready to move on to my health, I'll be able to focus more on that in the future. I know that it's coming and I'm willing to constrain right now to make my goals for my business and my clients happen first. When you give yourself that clean slate energy, this might allow you to have a tough conversation with someone that you care about and to show up with love and empathy instead of anger and aggressiveness or defensiveness. This can open up entirely new dynamics and entirely new energy between you and other people when you can forgive the past and just start fresh right now in this moment. Each moment is an opportunity for you to make a different decision that will move you towards the result you want and the future and the dream and the goal that you want. When you show up with clean slate energy, you can share a post if you have a business. You can go out and talk to people. Or you might reach out and continue to nurture connections that already exist, even if a long time has passed. It is never too late. That is the main thing about clean slate energy. It's never too late. You are never a hopeless cause. You are never too far gone. You are never completely incapable of making a step in the direction you want to go. It's never too late, and you can start fresh right now. In next week's episode, we're going to talk about evaluations and how to glean the lessons and gather the juice from those experiences in the past so that you're not using them against yourself and you're actually using them for yourself. The more effectively you can create awareness and neutrally evaluate how something went and what you would do differently, the faster you can make progress towards the things that you want. This is really crucial, highly sensitive person. And evaluating and celebrating are going to be our next two episode topics. All three of these things are related to each other. Giving yourself the clean slate, evaluating what worked and what didn't work, and celebrating each step along the way are how growth happens. We get this idea in our head, this magical thinking that there's some alternate reality and we're going to step into it and suddenly we're going to be a completely different person. That's not how transformation works. Transformation is one small step after the other. Sometimes you take a bigger step, sometimes you take a jump, sometimes you take some steps back. That all still counts because you're still moving forward. Transformation is not linear. It's not a full speed ahead acceleration process all the time. Sometimes it is. For some people it is. But for most of us, for most tasks and most goals, there's a circuitous way that we get there. Those steps back, when we learn from them, can help us move forward faster. You can move forward from a place of acceptance, empathy, curiosity, determination, and unstoppableness. Whatever your future holds, it does not have to be dictated by your past, and you can start fresh today. Just to recap, don't use your past failures or mistakes, and I use those words lightly, against yourself. You can learn from those things, but even if you're not ready to go back and face them directly, the first step is just to give yourself a pass. Give yourself a clean slate for things that have happened in the past so that at least you can get yourself back to a neutral place where you feel light, you feel relieved, you feel more open, you feel more curious. The first step is just to stop judging yourself. It's to show up with self-compassion. It's to forgive yourself and accept the things that have happened, and then not to make them mean anything about you. You are still your brilliant self, regardless of what you've done or haven't done in the past. All the qualities and the values that you love are still inside you, even if you're in a season where you're not demonstrating those things yet. I say yet frequently because it's coming for you. If you decide that you want to exhibit those qualities, you want to express those values, and you want to move forward, you can do that at any time, even when you stumble, even when it's uncomfortable, even when things don't go according to plan. You can give yourself that clean slate anytime. It doesn't have to be the beginning of the day. It doesn't have to be the beginning of the week. It doesn't have to be a new year or a new month or a new moon. You can give yourself a clean slate any moment. When you do that, you create feelings that open up the opportunity for you to get back into action, for you to try something new, for you to prove to yourself that you are the person that you want to be. That is where your true power lies, highly sensitive person. Don't use things from the past against yourself. You are still that person no matter what happens. You get to decide to give yourself grace, to forgive yourself, to accept what happened, and to have self-compassion and empathy for yourself so that you can move forward. This is the first step. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And as a special gift to you as my podcast listener, I want you to go to stephanielinn.com, that's LINN/closing, so that you can do my free workshop on how to close out old energy and move forward. This workshop takes what I told you in today's episode to the next level. It allows you to both create that clean slate energy and to learn from your past lessons so that you can move forward with a lot of purpose, meaning, and intentionality. It's something that I created entirely on my own, and I've never seen anything like it before. It has helped me and my clients and my students so much. I want you to have this for free. That's at stephanielinn.com/closing. I will put that in the show notes, and this will help you start to create that clean slate and know exactly what to do to move forward so much more purposefully. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode, and I will see you on the next one.
Thanks for listening. If you're ready to take what you learned today to the next level, head over to stephanielinn, that's LINN.com, and book a consultation call to get started. I can't wait to see you there, my dear HSP.